unveiling the healing power of your story, a revolution in personal testimony. Welcome to the Black CEO Podcast, where we're about to embark on a journey that will challenge everything you thought you knew about personal growth and collective healing. I'm your host, and today we're diving deep into the transformative wisdom of Kimberly Griffin, a visionary leader whose insights have not only reshaped my understanding of personal narratives, but have ignited a global movement of healing through shared stories. Kimberly Griffin isn't just another voice in the crowded space of personal development. She's a force of nature, a beacon of hope in a world that often feels shrouded in darkness. Her work has touched countless lives, sparking a revolution in how we view our personal experiences and their potential to heal not just ourselves, but entire communities. Griffin's approach to healing and empowerment is nothing short of revolutionary, blending raw authenticity with a fearless commitment to change that leaves no stone unturned and no heart untouched. Now, let me ask you a question that might make you squirm in your seat a little. What if I told you that the very experiences you've been trying to bury, the stories you've been too ashamed to share, could be the key to unlocking not just your own healing, but the healing of countless others? It's a provocative thought, isn't it? The idea that our deepest wounds, our most painful memories, could be transformed into beacons of hope for others. This isn't just feel-good rhetoric. This is the core of Kimberly Griffin's message. And let me tell you, it's as powerful as it is revolutionary. As I listened to Kimberly share her experiences, I was struck by the raw authenticity and fearless strength in her voice. It was like listening to Angela Bassett deliver a monologue with all the gravitas and power you'd expect, but infused with the bold, unapologetic confidence of Queen Latifah. It's this unique blend of vulnerability and strength that makes her message not just compelling, but truly transformative. Let's dive into the heart of what I learned from Kimberly, because trust me, this isn't your average self-help spiel. At its core, her message is deceptively simple. Everyone's testimony is a powerful gift that can bring healing to hearts. By sharing our lived experiences, we have the ability to inspire a movement that helps families and individuals see that healing begins with the courage to embrace change. Now, I can almost hear some of you thinking, share my story? Are you out of your mind? I've spent years trying to forget some of this stuff. And believe me, I get it. The thought of laying bare our vulnerabilities, our mistakes, our traumas, it's terrifying. But as Kimberly so eloquently puts it, it's in this very act of courage that we find our greatest strength and our most profound impact. Let's break this down into 3 key points that Kimberly emphasized, each one a pillar in the foundation of personal and collective healing. And let me tell you, these aren't just nice ideas, they're game changers. First up, let's talk about the power of personal testimony. Now, I'm not talking about standing on a soapbox and shouting your life story to anyone who will listen. I'm talking about the kind of sharing that comes from a place of authenticity, vulnerability, and a genuine desire to connect. Sharing our stories of overcoming challenges isn't just cathartic for us. It's a lifeline for others. It fosters a sense of community and resilience that's hard to find anywhere else. Think about it for a second. When was the last time you heard someone's personal story of triumph and didn't feel a spark of hope ignite within you? That spark, my friends, is the power of personal testimony in action. Let me share with you a story that perfectly illustrates this point. It's not about Kimberly Griffin, but about another remarkable woman named Kimberly Bryant, the founder and CEO of Black Girls Code. Now, stick with me here because this story is going to blow your mind. Picture this. A young African-American woman, brilliant and ambitious, steps into the tech world, only to find herself in a sea of faces that look nothing like her own. The lack of diversity is stark, the challenge is immense. But instead of backing down, instead of accepting the status quo, Kimberly Bryant chose to share her experiences and create change. Bryant's journey from a lone voice in the tech wilderness to the founder of an international organization reaching over 30,000 students is nothing short of miraculous. Black Girls Code started as a small local initiative. Today, it's a movement with chapters across the U.S. and even in Johannesburg, South Africa. It's been named one of the most influential organizations in tech inclusion. But here's the kicker, and pay attention because this is where the magic happens. It all started with Bryant's willingness to share her story, to testify to the challenges she faced and the change she envisioned. Her personal testimony became a rallying cry, inspiring a new generation of tech leaders, and significantly contributing to bridging the digital divide for girls of color. Now, I want you to imagine for a moment the courage it took for Bryant to stand up and say, this isn't right, and I'm going to do something about it. Imagine the vulnerability required to share her experiences of being overlooked, underestimated, and excluded. But also imagine the power of that sharing, the ripple effect it created. That, my friends, is the power of personal testimony. But let's not stop there. Let's dive into our second key point, embracing change for healing. Kimberly Griffin emphasizes that healing often begins with the courage to embrace change. And let me tell you, this isn't about making a few tweaks here and there. We're talking about the kind of change that shakes you to your core, that challenges everything you thought you knew about yourself and the world around you. Whether it's changing our beliefs, seeking new opportunities, or confronting past traumas, the path to healing is paved with transformation. And yes, it's scary as hell, but it's also where the magic happens. Let me share another powerful story that illustrates this point. This one's about a woman named Christina Carlton, and her journey is going to make you rethink everything you thought you knew about healing. Imagine battling a chronic illness for 14 years, not 14 days, not 14 months, but 14 years. Add to that the struggle of an eating disorder, and you've got a recipe for despair. That was Christina Carlton's reality. But here's where it gets interesting. Carlton's journey to healing wasn't about finding the right doctor or the right medication. It was about embracing a fundamental change in her approach to life. She sought inner healing prayer and made the courageous decision to renew her mind based on biblical teachings on healing. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking. Prayer, biblical teachings, that's not for me, and that's okay. The point here isn't about religion. It's about the transformative power of embracing change, especially when it pushes us out of our comfort zones. The result of Carlton's radical embrace of change, she experienced profound healing and was set free from her eating disorder. Now, I'm not saying that everyone's path to healing will look like Carlton's. What I am saying is that her story exemplifies the transformative power of embracing change. It's a testament to the fact that when we're willing to step out of our comfort zones to challenge our established patterns and beliefs, we open ourselves up to the possibility of profound healing. And isn't that what we're all searching for in one way or another? Now, let's move on to our third and final point. And trust me, this is where things get really interesting. We're talking about empowerment through shared experiences. When we share our lived experiences, we empower others to find strength in their own stories, leading to collective healing and growth. It's a beautiful cycle of vulnerability, strength, and community. To illustrate this, let me share some insights from a fascinating article titled Voices of Faith, the Impact of Testimonies on Collective Healing. Now, don't let the title fool you. This isn't just about religion. It's about the profound power of shared stories to create a tapestry of communal strength and connection. The article explores how, when individuals face personal challenges, the support of their community becomes crucial. But here's the twist. It's not just about receiving support. It's about the transformative power of giving it through sharing our own stories of struggle and triumph. The article highlights how shared testimonies within a community become a source of comfort, inspiration, and transformation for others. It underscores the role of these shared experiences in shaping both individual and communal identity and actions. This isn't just about one person's journey. It's about how that journey, when shared, can uplift and strengthen an entire community. Now, I want you to take a moment and think about your own story. What challenges have you overcome? What wisdom have you gained through your struggles? I bet there's someone out there right now who needs to hear your story, who could find hope and healing through your experiences. This is the heart of what Kimberly Griffin is calling us to do. She's challenging us to see our stories not as burdens to bear alone, but as gifts to be shared. She's inviting us to step into a new paradigm where vulnerability is strength, where our scars are badges of honor, and where our testimonies are the seeds of collective healing. But let's be real for a moment. Sharing our stories isn't always easy. It requires courage. It requires us to be vulnerable. It might even require us to revisit parts of our past that we'd rather forget. But here's the thing. It's in this very act of sharing that we often find our own healing deepen and our own strength reinforced. Think about it like this. When you share your story, you're not just helping others, you're also reaffirming your own journey. You're standing in your truth, owning your experiences, and in doing so, you're reclaiming your power. It's a beautiful paradox. In giving, we receive. In sharing our vulnerability, we find our strength. Now, I can almost hear some of you thinking, but my story isn't that special. Who would want to hear about my struggles? Let me stop you right there. Your story is unique because it's yours. The specific combination of challenges you faced, the way you've navigated them, the lessons you've learned, all these are uniquely valuable. Remember, healing isn't just about the big dramatic moments. Sometimes it's in the small, everyday victories that we find the most profound healing. Maybe your story is about how you learned to love yourself after years of self doubt. Perhaps it's about how you rebuilt your life after a devastating loss. Or maybe it's about how you found the courage to pursue your dreams despite overwhelming odds. Whatever your story is, I want you to know this. It matters. Your experiences, your struggles, your triumphs, they all matter. And there's someone out there who needs to hear your story. So, what do I want you to do after hearing this? I want you to embrace the courage to share your own testimonies and stories of healing. I want you to inspire others to do the same. Together, we can foster a community of collective healing and growth. Imagine a world where we're not afraid to share our struggles, where we celebrate each other's victories, no matter how small. Imagine a community where healing isn't a solitary journey, but a collective experience. That's the world Kimberly Griffin is inviting us to create. And it starts with each one of us having the courage to share our stories. Now, I know this might feel overwhelming. You might be thinking, where do I even start? Well, let me give you a few practical steps. First, start small. You don't need to share your entire life story all at once. Begin with a close friend or family member. Share a small victory or a lesson you've learned. Second, be authentic. Don't try to sugarcoat your experiences or make them sound more dramatic than they were. The power of your story lies in its truth. Third, listen as much as you share. Creating a community of healing is about give and take. As you share your story, be open to hearing other stories too. Fourth, be patient with yourself. Sharing your story is a process. It might feel uncomfortable at first, but with time, you'll find your voice and your confidence will grow. Lastly, remember that your story is ongoing. As you continue to grow and heal, your story will evolve. Don't be afraid to share that journey too. As we wrap up, I want to leave you with this thought. Your story has the power to change lives. It has the power to bring hope to the hopeless, strength to the weak, and healing to the broken. Your testimony is a gift that the world desperately needs. So, I challenge you today. Will you have the courage to share your story? Will you be brave enough to let your experiences be a light for others? Will you join this movement of healing through shared testimony? Remember, healing begins with the courage to embrace change. And sometimes that change starts with simply opening up and sharing your story. You never know whose life you might touch, whose heart you might heal, whose world you might change. In the words of the great Maya Angelou, there is no greater agony than bearing an untold story inside you. So let's release that agony. Let's share our stories. Let's create a tapestry of testimonies that brings healing, hope, and transformation to our communities and beyond. As we come to the end of our time together, I want to leave you with a call to action that goes beyond just feeling inspired. I want to challenge you to do something that might scare you, something that might push you out of your comfort zone, but something that has the potential to change not just your life, but the lives of those around you. Here's your challenge. In the next 24 hours, I want you to share a part of your story that you've been keeping hidden. It doesn't have to be your deepest, darkest secret. It could be a small triumph you've never celebrated, a struggle you're currently facing, or a lesson you've learned the hard way. Share it with someone you trust, a friend, a family member, or even in a supportive online community. As you share, pay attention to how it makes you feel. Notice the weight lifting off your shoulders, the connection it creates with the person you're sharing with. But don't stop there. I want you to take a step further. In the next week, find someone who needs to hear your story. Maybe it's a coworker who's struggling with something you've overcome. Maybe it's a stranger on the internet who's posted about a challenge you're familiar with. Share your story with them, not as advice, but as an offering of hope and solidarity. And finally, I want you to become a story collector. Start actively listening for the stories around you. Ask people about their experiences, their challenges, their triumphs. Create space for others to share their testimonies and watch as a community of healing begins to form around you. Remember, every time you share your story, every time you listen to someone else's, you're not just engaging in conversation. You're participating in a revolution of healing, of connection, of transformation. You have the power to change the world one story at a time. Your testimony is not just a collection of experiences, it's a force for healing, a catalyst for change, a beacon of hope in a world that desperately needs it. So go out there and share your story. Be bold, be vulnerable, be authentic, because in doing so, you're not just healing yourself, you're helping to heal the world. Thank you for joining me on this journey of discovery and empowerment. Now go out there and unleash the healing power of your story. The world is waiting to hear what you have to say. Let's start a revolution of healing, one testimony at a time. The time for silence is over. The time for sharing, for healing, for transformation, that time is now. And it starts with you. Are you ready?